Welcome. Today, we're diving into some real head-scratchers. Pieces of evidence that just don't quite fit into our neat little view of the world. We're talking photographs that defy any logical analysis, radio broadcasts with some seriously chilling implications, and even technology that seems to, well, read our minds. These are the stories that really push the boundaries of what we think we know.
It's that age-old question, right? You ever just look up at the sky and wonder, are we really alone here? Is what we see all there is? Or is there something more, just beyond our perception?
So today, we're going to crack open 4 completely different and super puzzling case files. We're going to go from strange lights in the sky all the way to a radio signal that might just hold the fate of the world in its hands. So, let's get into it.
All right, first up, we're jumping in the time machine and heading back to the golden age of UFO sightings. This first piece of evidence is so compelling, it's been stumping investigators for more than 7 years.
So, picture this. It's 1952. A 21-year-old naval photographer named Shell Alpert is just going about his day, cleaning his camera. Totally normal, right? Until he looks out the window and sees something that is absolutely not normal. In a split second, he does what he does best. He grabs that camera and snaps a picture. A picture that would become legendary in the world of UFOs.
And what he captured on film, well, it wasn't your classic flying saucer or some sort of secret plane. It was 4 brilliant, glowing, globes of light, flying in this deliberate but kind of uneven V-shape. It was unlike anything anyone had ever seen in the sky back then.
So, of course, right away, the skeptics jumped in trying to explain it away. Oh, it's just a light reflection, or it's a camera glitch. But here's the thing. The evidence just didn't line up. Weather reports from that day showed the sky was overcast. There was no sun to even cause a reflection. And if you look closely at the photo, you can see cars on the ground and their chrome bumpers. Not a single glint of sunlight. The easy answers just don't work here.
Okay, so from a single grainy photo in the 50s, let's fast forward to high-def video in the 21st century. You'd think that with all our modern tech, solving these mysteries would be a piece of cake. But as you're about to see, that's not exactly how it played out.
For several nights back in 2009, the security guard in Turkey, Yalçın Yalman, kept filming this thing hovering over the water. And this wasn't a one-and-done sighting. He captured it on video night after night, creating what's now one of the most heavily analyzed pieces of UFO footage in existence.
But here's where it gets really, really weird. When you zoom in and enhance the footage, some people claim you can make out the clear shape of a craft. And inside what looks like a cockpit window, you can supposedly see 2 distinct shapes, what look like the heads of 2 beings.
So, what's the scientific take on this? The main theory is something called a fata morgana. It's actually a really cool natural phenomenon, a type of complex mirage. Basically, light from a distant ship way out on the ocean can get bent by layers of air, making it look like the ship is floating up in the sky. It's a totally plausible explanation for a lot of coastal sightings.
But that theory starts to fall apart pretty quickly here. For one, these mirages usually happen right near the horizon. This object was filmed way up high in the sky. On top of that, video experts analyzed the footage and confirmed it was totally authentic, not a CGI fake. And maybe the biggest nail in the coffin for that theory? The Turkish government itself came out and officially said, nope, not one of ours. So the mystery just deepens.
All right, let's step away from the skies for a minute and tune into the airwaves, because our next mystery is something you can actually go and listen to right now, a sound that's been broadcasting out of Russia for decades, with a purpose that is potentially terrifying. People call it the buzzer, and that's pretty much what it is. 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, this shortwave station, UVB-76, just emits this single, monotonous buzz. But then, every once in a while, it just stops. Total silence. Then, a live voice comes on, reading a weird string of Russian names and numbers. And just as suddenly as it started, the buzzing comes back. So what in the world is this thing? Well, the most chilling theory, and this is straight out of a Cold War spy movie, is that it's a dead hand system. The idea is that the constant buzzing is basically a heartbeat signal. If Russia were ever wiped out in a nuclear first strike, the signal would stop, and that silence would be the automatic trigger to launch Russia's entire nuclear arsenal in retaliation.
Now, there is a less end-of-the-world theory, but it's still pretty fascinating. It's the idea that it's just a numbers station. For decades, spy agencies have used these to send coded, one-way messages to agents in the field. The constant buzz is just a way to squat on the frequency, keeping it open and clear so they can use it to send a message in an emergency. So is it a doomsday device or a spy network? Nobody's talking.
Okay, for our last case file, we are bringing it right into the digital age, into a weird space where technology, quantum physics, and our own minds seem to be overlapping in ways that are just baffling. There's an app called Randonautica, and the idea is pretty simple. First, you focus your thoughts on an intention. Could be a word, a question, anything. Then, the app uses a true quantum random number generator. We're talking real subatomic particle randomness here to spit out a set of geographic coordinates near you. Your job is to go to that exact spot and see what you find.
And the stories people tell, you can't make this stuff up. For example, there was this guy totally heartbroken because his dog had run away. He set his intention on finding his dog. The app sent him to a random spot way out in the desert. His dog wasn't there, but he found another dog, abandoned and in desperate need of a rescue. Is that just a wild coincidence? Maybe. But for people who use this app, stories like that happen all the time. So, what's the scientific explanation for all this? Well, it boils down to a concept called synchronicity, or what you might call a meaningful coincidence. The idea isn't that your thoughts are literally changing the physical world. It's that by focusing your mind so intensely on one thing, you're actually changing your perception. You start noticing patterns and connections that were there the whole time, but that your brain would normally just filter out as noise.
So, we've got strange lights, a possible alien ship, a doomsday radio, and a quantum app that seems to read our minds. 4 totally different stories, right? But they all seem to point back to one huge, fundamental question.
So what connects all these things? Are they just a bunch of random, unrelated coincidences in a chaotic world? Or could they be little clues that point to a much deeper truth? I mean, are we living in some kind of complex simulation, and these are just glitches in the matrix? Or maybe the answer is simpler and at the same time way more profound, that the universe itself is just infinitely stranger and more connected than we can even begin to imagine.
Look, we don't have the answers, but the questions these mysteries force us to ask are incredibly powerful. And it kind of brings us right back to that buzzing sound coming out of Russia. Is it just a spy channel, or is it a doomsday machine ticking away? You have to wonder, what do you think the truth is? Thanks for joining me.